Permission to speak at a seat from other than my own. Permission to speak from a seat other than
Go
my
ahead,
own.
Mr. Oscar. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, my contribution to this sectoral debate comes at a time when participatory democracy, good governance, and transparency are being called into question. The system of local governance is a necessary tool to achieve political stability, growth, and development in any democracy. Mr. Speaker, it therefore requires an approach that is respectful and inclusive. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Leader of the Opposition, Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, for giving me the opportunity to speak on local government issues. I want to congratulate her for insisting that the spokespersons act in a responsible manner in service of the people of Jamaica. I want to thank my family and for their continued support and advice. I wish also to thank my colleagues on this side for their continued support, and in particular, member from East Central St. Catherine and the Deputy Spokesperson on Local Government, Denise Daly. I want to thank also former Minister of State, Mr. Colin Fagan. To my councillors, Purcell, Bailey, Knight, constituency executive members, workers, and constituents, thank you for the support you have so graciously given me over the years. Mr. Speaker, let me mention especially the mayors and councillors, all 228 of them. They continue to serve the people of this country. Thank you for your continued service. I will continue to advance the cause for a strong local government system. Also want to congratulate the Minister of Local Government and Community Development on the assignment of the portfolio. Mr. Speaker, I have been Member of Parliament for the constituency of Southwestern Clarendon for almost 9 years, and within that time, I've made huge numbers of representation on behalf of the people. We have accomplished a lot, but there is still much more to be done. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, let me highlight some of the challenges we now face. I want to start with the Springfield Sugar Barracks relocation program. It was scheduled to be handed over. The keys should have been handed over to the beneficiaries, but the general election intervened. Mr. Speaker, since then, I've been trying to get some answers on behalf of the beneficiaries. To date, I do not know what to say to them. Mr. Speaker, the beneficiaries are currently living in less than suitable conditions. They have waited a long time and are deserving of a decent place to live in. In addition, we need to honor the work of the late Honorable Roger Clark, who advanced the program and started construction of the houses. I want to commend former Minister Derek Kelly, who has completed the project in a very speedy fashion. Mr. Speaker, the main roads in the constituency are in a state of disrepair, particularly since the heavy rains recently. I'm saying it was caused by the recent heavy rains. Yeah. The Four Paths Main Road, Lionel Town to Pretty, Rest to Tollgate, the Bustamante Highway, and in particular, the Foga to Milk River Main Road needs urgent attention. Mr. Speaker, this road leads to the world-renowned Milk River Bath, which benefited from a $50 million upgrade in phase 1 of its rehabilitation. There is great potential for community tourism and job creation if the hotel and spa as a tourism destination is marketed. You're not listening. Mr. Speaker, I've made representation to the Tourism Enhancement Fund for road repairs to be done to the road to Milk River Bath. Mr. Speaker, the Vernon Field airstrip, along with the Milk River Bath in my constituency, form part of the Millennium Projects announced by former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson in September 1999. While some work has been done on Milk River, Vernon Field remains the great potential as part of the logistics hub facility in Jamaica. The government has my full support to do whatever is required to implement the project, but with consultation with my constituents. Mr. Speaker, there are other urgent works needed to be undertaken in my constituency. The Yorktown Health Center, piped water to the northern section of the constituency, districts like Rock, Mr. Speaker, Darlow, Mount Airy, Stuarton, Mr. Speaker. You know those areas very well. This morning we spoke to them on the radio. Mr. Speaker, for the last 4 years, as Minister of Local Government and Community Development, my task, along with State Minister Fagan and the staff of the ministry, was to fulfill the vision where local government is seen as the premier government organization that facilitates the development of communities that can deliver sustainable first-world services through modern, participatory, autonomous, and adaptive systems for the benefit of our citizens. And while we have not accomplished all our strategic objectives, we have laid the framework for continuity and implementation. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, I've heard announcements made by the minister without the recognition of the work of the previous administration. But let me pause at this point to commend him, however, for continuing the program of the People's National Party's administration. Mr. Speaker, while time will not allow me to highlight all the achievements that we did when we were in government, and even though the minister presented some of them, I will focus on the legislative framework that is transforming the system of local government. Mr. Speaker, Jamaica's program for local government reform was officially launched by the Most Honorable Prime Minister P.J. Patterson in November 1995, approximately 21 years ago. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to have been part of a political administration led by the Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller that established a legislative framework to effectively advance local government reform. Mr. Speaker, the passage of the Constitutional Amendment Local Government Act 2015, which entrenched local government in the Constitution, and the 3 strategic laws in the Houses of Parliament represent true commitment to local government transformation. The Disaster Risk Management Act 2015 was also passed to provide for a strengthened legislative framework for disaster management. This is a fulfillment of the commitment made by the People's National Party to undertake and deliver a comprehensive and fundamental reform of the local government system. Mr. Speaker, I expect the Minister will continue the implementation process to ensure a transparent, accountable system of local government, which will have far-reaching impact, both locally and internationally. Mr. Speaker, the Minister in his presentation said that, and I quote, "The image of local government and local authorities has been shaken and battered by the revelations in the report of the Contractor General, end quote. Mr. Speaker, I'm aware of the investigations carried out by the Contractor General on the Hanover Parish Council and the report tabled in this Honourable House, which was released to the media in phases with some inaccuracies. I'm also aware, Mr. Speaker, that the Minister ordered an audit into the workings of the Hanover Parish Council after the release of the Contractor General's report. For the sake of transparency, I'm asking the Minister to share with us the findings of that report. Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that the local authorities, now referred to as municipal corporations, are routinely audited. In fact, they are probably the most audited agency of government. The Minister, who is a former councillor and mayor, would know that each of these corporations are audited by their own internal auditor, at least twice per year by the Ministry's auditing team, the Auditor General, and occasionally the Contractor General. In 2012, when I assumed the responsibility of the ministry, special audits were done, and both the current minister and the member from West Central St. Catherine, who are former mayors, can attest to the fact that no police with high-powered weapons or cameras were brought in. Mr. Speaker, breaches were found, and the ministry worked with the affected councils to implement measures that would prevent a recurrence. There was no complaint of political victimization by anybody. This was unlike the recent development, Mr. Speaker, that makes you wonder if the hand is the hand of Esau, but the voice is the voice of Jacob. These actions make you wonder whether or not the language of transforming local government is a ruse to do what people have always wanted to do. Mr. Speaker, the recent raids by the Office of the Contractor General and MOCA of the municipal corporations have left civil servants traumatized and belittled, some of whom were detained in their offices up to 10 p.m. at night. Many of these hard-working, dedicated civil servants spent a lifetime building a career, only to find themselves being treated in this manner by agents of the state. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the affected corporations were shut down for days and their operations curtailed. Persons who worked for the councils would not be paid. I give an example of a gentleman, Jason Brown from Kellitz, took 3 taxis to collect his salary with the intention to go to the supermarket, only to find that he could not be paid the meager sum that he was owed because the operations of the council was shut down. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, but the monthly statutory and salary reductions were not paid over on time, and those staff members would have incurred penalties on their accounts. Where is the prosperity of these ordinary Jamaicans? Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge the right and duty of the Office of the Contractor General and MOCA and other investigative bodies to conduct investigation unimpeded. But let us apply the law in such a manner that those found guilty be singled out and dealt with, rather than tarnishing the majority. How will we restore the reputation of those innocent civil servants negatively affected by these actions? Mr. Speaker, the opposition believes in good governance, and this is evidenced in our actions. The passage of the 3 strategic laws, in particular, the Local Government Financing and Financial Management Act 2016, addresses auditing of the local authorities and the establishment of internal audit committees. Mr. Speaker, the announcement made by the Minister in this regard are not new initiatives. They are requirements by law as stipulated in sections 30 and 31 of the Act that I piloted in this very House. I made sure that the implementation and training and sensitization sessions with the local authorities were in train before I left office. In this regard, I welcome the new rhetoric I hear coming from that side of the House, indicating a strong commitment to local government, which is not always consistent. Nevertheless, it represents some progress, and we did not get here by accident. Mr. Speaker, a real Jamaican question would be, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Mr. Speaker, I'm heartened to know that the Minister is impressed with the level of work done by the Social Development Commission and wants to improve programs. He has, however, failed to see the bigger picture, and that is a policy of empowering communities through local economic development initiatives. The Social Development Commission, along with the local authorities, are mandated to implement sustainable economic enterprises at the community level. This program, Mr. Speaker, started with the Caribbean Local Economic Development Project in 2014, which is a partnership between the Government of Jamaica and the Government of Canada. I want to pause to thank the Canadians for their contribution, not only to Jamaica, but the Caribbean in the Local Economic Development Program. One of the outcomes of the reform is the identification of and support to the creation of business improvement districts, which the Minister has not addressed as yet. I therefore urge him to get the necessary brief to ensure that this program remains a priority. This, Mr. Speaker, will facilitate community transformation and economic growth from the ground up. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate the Manchester Municipal Corporation under the leadership of Mayor Brenda Ramsey for transforming the Cecil Charlton Park into a park and an entrepreneurial center. Mr. Speaker, there is no question that public safety requires proper lighting in public spaces, and the number of functioning streetlights in Jamaica is woefully inadequate. From as early as 2012, the Ministry of Local Government started discussions with the Jamaica Public Service to change what obtained and to arrive at the best solution for the people of Jamaica. We had many disagreements, pushbacks, but some things were done. We had found in some areas up to 25% of the streetlights were not functional, and the local authorities were billed for them anyway. We had an agreement that the existing streetlights are burdensome to the local authorities and are inefficient. We had determined that the replacement of these lights with smart lights, LED lights, would reduce the cost significantly, maybe as much as 60%. We had several consultations with JPS, the Development Bank of Jamaica, ESET, Ministry of Finance, among others, to work out the best strategy to retrofit and finance the street lighting program. We had analyzed the tariff for streetlights, and recommendations were submitted to the OUR to consider special tariffs for smart LED streetlights. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of easement, the Attorney General was written to for an opinion on compensation from utility companies who use the sidewalks to run cables and plant poles. This, Mr. Speaker, can be a good source of revenue for the local authorities. I want the Minister to give his full attention to this area. Mr. Speaker, the new electricity license requires a commitment from the JPS to begin the process of retrofitting streetlights by December of this year. Mr. Speaker, I am not happy with the timeline, but it is a start. Mr. Speaker, the minister needs to be properly briefed on streetlight program. He needs to establish a management team to ensure that the JPS implements a program in accordance with the specifications developed by the government. Delay of this program will cost taxpayers more money, and the JPS will only benefit. I want you to read the program. Read the license. The Speaker, the Minister of Energy has said in the House that he intends to go to the market for a new renewable license. I'm asking that a portion be reserved for the municipal corporations to participate in the renewable energy program to help offset some of the cost of the street lights. Mr. Speaker, the health of the nation requires a clean environment. I've always believed that our citizens must play a part in keeping the country clean. Therefore, the government must embark on a sustained public education program, as well as fines to deter careless disposal of waste to achieve this feat. Fines currently in existence are woefully inadequate. The current pileup of garbage around Jamaica, accompanied by the usual infestation of rats and the spread of the Zika virus in current times, a dangerous situation. Mr. Speaker, before we left office, we developed a coordinated approach to deal with the situation. We had brought in, Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Health, the mayors, in a collaborative effort. And we have put an aggressive program in place, which was there when you got to office. And therefore, say that you need to revisit it, Minister. It's a program that brings the community together in full participation across political, social, and economic grounds to help us tackle this vicious Zika virus. The program of cleaning, coordinated by the councils, Ministry of Health, and so on, and other agencies of the state. Mr. Speaker, the Minister has announced a cleanup activity in a few parishes. We'd like to know if this is a national program. I would like to ask, there's a few questions. If it is, what are the criteria for selecting? Well, if it is not a national program, then what are the criteria for selecting the areas to be clean? What is the scope of the work to be done? How is it funded? How much has been spent each parish to date? I will table the appropriate questions in Parliament. And equally, I'd like to know what is the role of the municipal corporations and the National Solid Waste in that program. Mr. Speaker, the Zika virus is a present danger, especially to pregnant mothers. It requires full focus and attention of the entire nation. And I want to say that along with that, I want the engagement of the local authorities so that we can collectively make a concerted effort to reduce the spread and to contain it where it currently is in the corporate area. Maybe one other thing is to curtail movement of persons in that case. That some civil liberty will be trampling on, but it will be worth this effort this time. Because they would move it easily.
No, he's continuing from the AG's presentation.
Yeah. Well. Mr. Speaker.
That's the freedom of, she was talking about.
I know that.
Taking away the freedom of movement.
I would like to use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the government and people of Mexico. They have provided funding for the construction of the Riverton Concrete Road.
Good project.
This project not only will create jobs, but also provide skills and training. This is one of the flagship projects of my administration. I'm indeed quite pleased with the outcome of the project. Mr. Speaker, the Riverton disposal site was re-engineered with proper cell demarcation, fire suppressant equipment installed, storage tank installed using the water from the Duane River to fill them. And Minister, all you need to do is just to maintain the structure, and you will not have another big problem of a big fire out at Riverton that I had to deal with. On the issue of the... Mr. Speaker, we had budgeted in last administration for 17 new compactors, which should be arriving in Jamaica by now. I want the Minister to advise us when the trucks will be coming. What immediate measures are being taken to increase the fleet of trucks in light of the reports that only 13 trucks of 91 are functional? Mr. Speaker, I must thank the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade for their consistent hard work and commitment. I know the Minister was always passionate about the condition under which they worked and the inadequate equipment and the unit at their disposal. But when you were at the wicket the last time, you didn't bring in any equipment. But this time, it's a different situation. Because over the last 4 years, Mr. Speaker, 6 fire units were purchased, in addition to 2 fire units and 2 ambulances donated by the Japanese government. 10 fire stations were refurbished and rehabilitated, hydrants repaired, and other equipment purchased. Mr. Speaker, I must commend former Minister of State for his responsibility for the JFB and the previous board. They work hard to ensure that we have done some progress for the Jamaica Fire Brigade. But it doesn't stop there, Mr. Speaker, because we had budgeted for 1 fire boat, 2 water tankers, 2 fire trucks with pumpers, among other apparatus and gear, and the construction of 2 new fire stations, one in Port Maria and the other in Montego Bay. Mr. Speaker, I urge this government to continue the progress made with the JFB, not to allow the fleet to go back to what it was pre-2012. Mr. Speaker, I have a few recommendations for the government, because we on this side are not prepared to sacrifice the gains we have made. 1, complete the implementation of the 3 strategic laws to ensure an effective, robust, and reformed system of local government. 2, adequately budget for the over 80% of the parochial roads. And I didn't hear the Minister responsible road address the issue of the parochial roads. 3, continue to increase the fleet of trucks and equipment for both the NSWMA and the JFB annually. This is a framework in place. Please use it. The National Building Bill, Mr. Speaker, is urgently needed to regulate and manage buildings to ensure safety in the built environment. The Building Act we are using right now is the 1907 Act. I urge the Minister to retable this bill in this House for debate. Well, you have a timeline. It is a requirement by the World Bank. Substantial work was done. Consultation was done with all the persons, and I want you to read it. Well, bring it back and let us see. So, when it comes, I'll be here to debate it. 5, continue the collaboration with our international partners. There are mutual benefits to be derived. To continue the upgrade of our markets. 7, continue the consultations to give legal recognition to the municipal police. Mr. Speaker, the municipal corporations represent the hub of the parish's social and economic life. It is therefore logical that the political directorate and administrative staff are properly housed. That is why the previous administration embarked on a program to construct municipal buildings for those that worked in less than suitable conditions. I commend the minister for not abandoning this and other programs.
Minister, the time for speaking of the member has expired. You may.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Oh. I thought it was. No, I didn't.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the member's time be extended by 5 minutes to allow him to complete his presentation.
Motion is for the member's time to be extended by 5 minutes. Those in favor? Those opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Ascott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. I had time to earlier, so I almost finished. Mr. Speaker, the people of Jamaica can always depend on a government led by the People's National Party to advance an effective local government system. As opposition, we will protect the gains made and ensure that the people are the beneficiary of the reform system. Local government, Mr. Speaker, is a critical arm of government because it touches the lives of every Jamaican citizen. I therefore call on the government to adopt an approach that is consultative and not confrontational. The heavy-handed approach of threats and finding persons guilty before trial is unacceptable. There are many things to learn, and I suggest that the government utilize the spirit to do so and ensure that all stakeholders work together in a spirit of respect, cooperation for the benefit of Jamaica, land we love. Thank you very much.